Okay, this is how you make your thumbnail. Okay, that's done. Alright, so the title of this live is I Can't Have an Intact Dog, and my lovely Satori-chan is, um, I love to, like, notice my dog grow and change and her beautiful body. I wanted to shoot this in hopes that she would just stay still the whole time. Let me see if she can. I'm not making her do anything or perform anything. I'm just gonna have this discussion while. Let's see, I can go higher. She is my dogter. My dogter is my daughter. My dogter. And why that's so particularly of service, why that's actually part of. So if service dogs wants to TM their service dog definition and not expand what a service dog is, then it seems we're going to have to get other people on board in creating another term for what I'm trying to do and brand it, and either try to get laws passed that would accept it in the ADA, or get stores to, I don't know how ESA even got on board, how that whole process is. Yesterday we took the bus, and the bus driver asked, is that a service dog? And I said yes. She is only a service dog on the bus, but now I understand that it's better for her, also her safety, to be in ESA friendly stores. And I want to make a whole separate episode on ESA friendly stores, because we have a great time training in and talking to staff and customers in ESA friendly stores, and I think that they try to keep it on a down low so that people with pets don't, and again, I'm going to refer them as pets, and also pets are great, but they're different. And so people who try to make this argument that an emotional support animal is a pet is only because, it's semantic, I think. And it depends on what you think of a pet is, I guess, and how you treat your animal. And how, I think of myself as, an alpha dog, or just an alpha female. So in that, we are in line as primal beings. And she is the most intimate reflection of who I am. Aside from birthing her from my own vagina, she is my dogter, and she is a reflection of who I am through my ethics code, through my leadership as the alpha. She's going to reflect, she doesn't shop for herself or train herself. She didn't come to me trained or even immunized. I chose to do those things. I've been creating her to be in service to me. And part of your experience, I'm going to start calling her a wellness dog. Part of the wellness dog program is raising and deciding ethically, consciously, how to parent, how to make parental decisions with consciousness. And so today's talk is about spaying and neutering your service dog. So if you are owner training, you are maybe getting a puppy. And if you are getting a puppy, then they are likely not going to be spayed or neutered. You can just use one word. I have been researching this. And it is what I thought in my gut, I am going with what I feel is right That's the first thing, because I am the parent, I am the alpha of my dog. Number two, I'm going with what I see in the animal. So it's lived experience, and I look at their feces and their mood and their temperament and everything. So I'm checking my dog constantly for um, infectious signs, symptoms, behaviors, right? And I'm also going to be discussing my inquiries and my explorations with other people in the community around spaying and neutering. And um, what you don't anticipate is how much of a parenting and it really is parenting, how much of that kind of journey it is, and why that is a therapy for the wellness of people who have been neglected or abused. So I want to create a program where it's for people who are consciously willing to work on the patterns that they have been playing out. Psychological patterns could be anything from twitching, hand biting. I bite my fingers. My fingers is an obsessive compulsive habit that comes out when I'm bored. But I'm never bored anymore. But I still bite my fingers a little bit. But I think it comes from being neglected as a kid and just, having something to do for hours. And becoming obsessed with that thing to do, to bide your time. Like, I'm really like into cutting my cuticles without bleeding, and so I take the other nail and I like cut it, and then I'll use it like an X-Acto knife, and I'll get really OCD with it. And then I'll bite it halfway, and then it'll make something bleed because the hangnail will come down. Those are the things that are probably CPTSD signs, right? That's the things that you can train your dog to interrupt behavior. They can be trained to interrupt nail biting or obsessive, compulsive, destructive behavior. But I think for CPTSD, specifically raising your dog is part of your wellness program. And I think that there's a huge gap in not only understanding how service dogs can be so useful to so many different people who have tried so many different things, and in conjunction with other things. Like, I am not a therapist, a psychiatrist. I am a disabled person with a psychiatric disability and mental illness called complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and I have post-traumatic stress disorder. So there's a gap in services, or there's a gap in attention, and I want to do this ikigai thing. And ikigai is really finding your balance in how you can make money, how you can be of service, how you can fulfill your passion and do what you love. So that's ikigai. That's like all these concentric thin circles. And so my other profession is coaching men and women around sacred sexuality, coaching them to become their best selves, to incorporate mind, body, spirit. Yoga, it's the yoga of life. And so as I have added Satori into my family, and it's taken so long because I'm a neglected child, because I had so many messages around my ability to parent. And that was given to me, handed to me. And so instead of doing a surgery, an invasive surgery that is going to alter their behaviors or not, I want to know before I do it, what is the best thing for my dog child. And I'm already going through this, and I've already decided it based on what I see in the animal and what I see in the poop and her health, right? So the raw diet is one thing that I'm doing. She's on a 85% raw diet. She eats 20 pieces of kibble, and I feed her 20 pieces of puppy kibble to balance out what I'm not covering with the other stuff. But there's vegetables, little pieces of vegetable and other stuff in the Aloha raw foods, and then she eats super raw foods like turkey necks and chicken claws. And she loves them. It makes her super happy. Um, and it feels right to us. It feels right to me, like she has healthy shits at first. Like I didn't understand that there's like blood in her shit because she eats raw. But her body's adjusted to it and there's no more like red, but I can tell when things are the bones. She can digest the beak and the claws and the nails of the chicken. She can bite the whole turkey neck. Now she's getting bigger. So it's wonderful to watch her grow, and from puppy stages and grow into a built, young, older puppy. She's still a puppy. She's 8 months old. And so I am learning this as I go along. I don't know. I'm not a dog trainer professional. I'm not a dog. I am, I just am a holistic wellness coach for humans. I'm a sexuality coach for humans, and I've been working in that field for 20 years for humans. And really, all these dog trainers say that it's not about the dog, it's about the human. And I'm really, really seeing that more and more in my research, right? It's you must spay, you must neuter, you gotta do it automatically. It's for she could get ovarian, not cancer, she could get pyometriosis. Some people cut off their breasts so they don't get breast cancer as a form of preventative medicine. As a preventative action, I guess is what it would be called, like Angelina Jolie. And other people do mastectomies because they want to appear more masculine and they feel that they're more masculine. It's a gender dysphoria issue. But and we do make certain decisions as parents, as owners, as handlers, as trainers. But I had this discussion with trying to find, someone to train us as a team so that we can be learning tasks for me that will qualify her to be the service dog that, she needs to be for me. So I'm not going to really mention names because I'm sure that she represents not a minority, but she represents. She says that she is. Hold on. It's the standards of a certain school. What's it called? Okay, so ADI, Assistance Dogs International, and International Association of Assistance Dog Partners, Minimum Training Standards for Public Access. So this is how she runs her program, and you must have the dog spayed or neutered. Where does it specifically go into? I'm not gonna share screen because I'm just gonna discuss it in general using those names of accredited assistant dogs standards and discuss those. She was saying that the service dog must respond to commands from the client 90% of the time on the first ask in all public and home environments. The service dog should demonstrate basic obedience skills by responding to voice and or hand signals, staying in place, lying down, walking in a controlled position near the client, and coming to the client when called. Okay, so all of these obedience skills, but then she actually tells me why in number 10. Prior to placement, every service dog must meet the ADI standards and ethics. regarding dogs, be spayed and neutered, and have current vaccination certificates as determined by their veterinarian and applicable laws. So I need to look up ADI standards and ethics regarding dogs. ADI standards and ethics. We can look that up next. ADI standards and ethics, and ADI minimum standards of assistant dog partners. They have to have current vaccinations as determined by their vet and applicable laws. It is the program's responsibility to inform the client of any special health or maintenance care requirements for each dog. And then she says, working an intact dog is difficult. Adolescent intact males have 10 times the testosterone of adult males, which significantly increases their potential as a target for loose dog attacks. Intact females go into season around twice a year, and during each heat they are 100% useless as public access SDs for at least 3 weeks. Most will not be reliable even at home. While in season, there is a very real risk of attack by other dogs because of her. Breeding risks the health of both partners because of STDs, and the male is particularly vulnerable to severe damage of his urogenital tracts if the female moves incorrectly during breeding. It is inherently risky. For experienced breeders, they know all the proper safe ways to breed. But for service dog handlers, according to ADI guidelines, the service dog must be fixed by age 2. So the by age 2 part is very important to me. And Satori is only 8 months old, so she is not even 2, right? But then she says that this trainer says that she's refusing to train our dog, right? She's like, I am unwilling to train your dog unless she is sprayed. Perhaps you can find another trainer who is not in alignment with Assistance Dogs International who will help you. So that seems like maybe my next mission. Because I can't say that I haven't tried to own or train and find a legitimate trainer and get her as, card carrying and have my ducks and dogs in line and stuff. But I think the part of adopting this organization's ethics, and it says ethics specifically, I have to look into ADI standards and ethics regarding dogs. I want to look that up. ADI minimum standards and ethics. We can share that screen because that's not private. Assistance Dogs International. I mean, I'm just a disabled person who is low income, looking up and discovering this as I go along. DIY, doing this on my own with my dog, understanding there's a gap in services. And that perhaps I could fill the gap. Okay, so let's share screen on that one just to make this a little interesting. All right, ADI standards have become the benchmarks to measure excellence in the assistance dog industry. Assistance dog users. I already like the sound of that. Assistance dog users, right? Because if I can't, like I told you, if I can't use the word service dog, oh, your dog is not a service dog. She doesn't do tasks for you. She's only a pet and all that stuff. I like already assistance dogs, kind of like wellness dogs, right? Like, because I'm interested in having a holistic partnership to work on relational healing for survivors with post-traumatic stress disorder. And I like the word assistance dogs, but let's look at their standards and see if I like that. Assistance dog users trust their lives and safety to their dogs, so everything related to the training of both the dogs and people must meet extraordinary criteria. Compliance with these standards helps ensure that people with disabilities who are seeking a partnership with an assistance dog receive exceptional service from our accredited member program, a professional trained assistance dog to mitigate their disability, a comprehensive education about the training and utilization of an assistance dog, a thorough understanding of all aspects of public access with an assistance dog. The ADI Standards Committee works year-round on the continued development of ADI standards. The ADI standards are continually evaluated. Okay, so I was reading the first few bullet points there, and now I want to know. I mean, I agree with all of that. That doesn't talk about spaying or neutering. Ooh, a virtual conference. Like, I really think this is something that I would like to. I'm passionate about this. This is my ikigai. It's really cool, you know? Like, it sacred sexuality for humans is my main profession, but having to get a service dog, an assistance dog, I don't know if I can even what dog, but if pet is just something that you pet, Satori is not that, because she doesn't even let me pet her. If I started to pet her right now during this live, she would go away. She's not my pet. She doesn't want to be my pet. She is like a child that I am raising. And those of you that have that relationship with your dog child then, or your cat child, or your pig child, or whatever, you would understand that. And specifically for someone who has had trust issues with parents, emotional abuse, neglect with parental figures, sexual abuse as a child. I think animals, especially, specifically, you know, working on this emotional healing after trauma has been key for me. And so that's what I'm doing with Satori. She is not my pet. Okay, so let's look at the standards. Here we go. Summary of standards. I have been becoming conscious of closed captioning for blind people, and so that's why I was reading out loud. A lot of people who have service dogs are going to be blind, so I'm trying to be more conscious of that in my social media, because I have become the accidental disability activist. Where is it? Summary of ADI standards. That's what I read. But then it's by 2 years old, and she's only 8 months old. She could become trained, you know, and totally doing well within that year and 2 months. But then she still refused to train us. So let me check if I'm sharing screen here. Yes, I am. Okay. In order for a program to be deemed compliant with ADI standards, the program must successfully complete the ADI accreditation process and be approved as an accredited member of ADI. The following is a summary of the ADI standards. Additional criteria must be met as outlined in the accreditation manual to be deemed compliant with ADI standards. A program may not report they meet ADI standards based on the material in this document alone. Okay, so maybe I could become an ADI credentialed program. Wow. Operational stability. Not-for-profit organization. Sound and ethical business practices. Financial transparency. Responsible use of resources. Adequate safety and emergency procedures. Fair and equal policies and procedures for both staff and volunteers. Must be transparent to what is offered to participants of public offered classes. Nice. Wow, so this is like a possibility for me to like create a career for myself. Programs train dogs to perform at least 3 specified assistive tasks. Well behaved and unobtrusive in public. Dogs will not display aggression, eliminate inside, or show uncontrollable behavior in public. Programs spay or neuter all dogs prior to placement, career change, release, or retirement. There it is. Programs spay or neuter all dogs prior to placement, career change, release, or retirement. So she's placement. So they kind of make that the gatekeeper of the program. Interesting. So this is one model of training a service dog, and using ADI summary of standards to become an accredited program. But that's good to know that you, I mean, clearly it does, it is easier. Those are the pros of it. So go back to me and my dog. They are clearly easier to manage. But I want to wait and keep thinking about it. I've been thinking about it ever since I got her. Her sexuality is of interest to me. I think it's part of our healing to make these decisions soundly. As a survivor of sexual violence, who is specifically training a PTSD dog to be of service, I want to look into, maybe it's not service dog. It's not even like the service is training her to be a personal protection dog for survivors. Maybe that's the niche that I'm looking for. But they're not just personal protection dogs, they're PSAs, right? So, like, what is the need what is the problem you're solving for people? The problem is, when I was looking for an emotional support animal at the shelters, they made it very difficult, a long wait, and then lots of hoops to jump through. I went there twice without going home with the dog. It was heartbreaking for me. It was so hard to have to prepare mentally to adopt a dog and make an appointment and wait and look at dogs and look at pictures, and it was horrible. It was a horribly grueling experience for me. And so then I just was like so overjoyed that the universe brought me Satori on Thanksgiving, no less, So spaying her, keeping her intact is what I seem to be going towards, as I am going to, continue her raw diet. And I'm growing her raw diet, and that as a parent has been a joy to see your baby like grow before your eyes, You are fattening up you're putting on the fat of your baby. I love her little armpits. It's my favorite, is touching her little armpit. But really, like, getting in touch with your energetics, your primal knowledge as an animal. If you really get in touch with her her sensitivity to sounds and disturbances, which ones are real, which ones are, something that I should be concerned about, like if my, porch door is open during the day and she's barking, then I have to teach her that it's not really an issue. But, for example, Oh my god, this was supposed to be about spaying and neutering, but I have both PTSD, so I can't track a story. Um, let me just stay on spaying and neutering and having babies and all of that stuff before I go off tangent. Okay, spaying and neutering, okay. Keeping the female intact. Her sexuality as a doggess is very felt. I mean, I look at her vagina all the time, you know, and I'm sure if you have a boy dog and you haven't already neutered him, you look at the ball sack of your animal all the time. Like, it's just what we do as creatures. Our eyes automatically go to genitals. If you go to a nudist resort or whatever, your eyes will look and then adjust. Look and adjust. You always do that. You're always checking out other people's genitals and then you adjust. Genitals, eyes. It's just what we do as people. It's what we do as sexual creatures, right? Even if we're not trying to have sex with this creature. I notice her sexuality. She's always. Oh my goodness! Is that poo poo? I think it's blood. Oh my god. Speaking of which. Holy crapola. Oh my goodness. You're bleeding, my girl. Holy shit, I'm not even joking. This is like a real live. See, this is what I mean. Like, I am a female. I'm an intact female myself. I bleed. I'm 44 years old. And, I didn't mean to look down at her vagina, but like I'm always checking out my dog's body. She had a big old cut right here. I put coconut oil on it. I'm wondering if I can prevent pyometriosis. That is a bacterial. I'm listening and researching. It's a bacterial infection in the uterus. Bacterial infections can be fought off with coconut oil topically. For yeast infections, I don't know. I can put it in her food if that's gonna help, you know. A lot of these things, you know, the raw diet helps with that. When she came to me, she had a yeast infection in her ears and giardia, and now she's like totally healthy, and I haven't spent hundreds of dollars on her. But oh my god, I think for sure, because like her vagina area has crusted blood on it, and it's not even crusted blood, it's like fresh blood. Huh. I've heard of that where you'll notice at night if they are menstruating. She's 8 months old, so she could be menstruating. But there would be like dogs lined up on my lawn if she was bleeding. But she's certainly bleeding, you guys. Like, this is crazy. But there's not blood all over. Maybe it's the, like, oh my god. Is my baby getting her period? Are you getting your period? Like, you know, the little circle thing. I mean, it's either poo-poo. No, it looks like blood. Because like I said, I am a female. I'm an intact female myself. I bleed. I know what blood on the vagina looks like. So, being a survivor of sexual violence, of child neglect, and trying to train dogs, maybe, you know, maybe my standards will be for you to keep them intact, to be ethical towards the sexuality of dogs. Maybe that's part of their service to you, to teach you about, to teach us about the magic of, you know, being in our primal. Because I hear a lot of people, I'm intact myself. I don't use birth control pills or anything like that either. I have never been pregnant and never had an abortion myself. And that's just the way that it's gone, you know? Like, I worked as a sex worker, a full service prostitute, so I've had sex with lots of people, but it wasn't unprotected sex. And not even a lot of people compared to other people who are just slutty. I'm gonna let her go. But I think the way that I heard, because I've been researching, there's a really excellent what to expect during your dog's heat. But I've seen a dog in heat before, and there's like male dogs that just line up on the lawn if she's in heat. But yeah, she has blood all around that circle. So apparently at night, when they're not able to lick themselves clean, there'll be blood all over your sheets. So she is in the ability to have a menstruation. She's 8 months old now. She hasn't been licking like excessively, and also the vulva is supposed to be enlarged at this time, and it's not anything more. She's not acting crazy either. Come here, baby. Come here, Satori. Or aggressive or bitchy or anything. So, to neuter or not neuter your dog, that is the question. I mean, I do a lot of things that are controversial already. I realize that Planned Parenthood is not about helping people Planned Parenthood, but it's about helping people have abortions. And pro-choice is not really about being about people's choices over their bodies. It's about being against abortion. So, things that you accept around our own human sexuality are accepted as normal because they've been the standard run of debate and the standard for a set of words that are thrown around automatically, easily. Oh, you should do this. You should spay and neuter your dog. Oh, my dog is accredited by Assistance Dogs International, so they wouldn't allow an intact female or an intact male. But it takes balls to be a service dog, especially at Costco. It's like crazy. Or it takes balls to to look for drugs in a suitcase at the airport. I wonder if those dogs are intact or not. So, in creating my Ikigai alternate profession, maybe this is the direction I go in. Maybe I go into creating assistance dogs for holistic assistance dogs, or wellness dogs. And that could be a program for every economic income level, homeless people too. Like, make it more accessible and simpler for people to be well, to feel love, to feel warm at night, to not kill themselves, you know. Come baby, come. Do I have to bribe you? She doesn't take bribes, check it out. That's why she would score not so well in some kind of like assistance dog type of test, because she has like a lot of pride. Like, see how I'm leaving little bits of food for her? She gets really upset at that. She's like, I am above that shit. She even sighs. Like, I love it when she goes and then she knows that's her language. So if you want to speak dog, you listen to the sounds that your dog makes and you use those sounds to communicate with your dog. She came in here and popped her head in, right? She's like, that is a song, that's the sound I make when I'm displeased with my human, right? So she was like checking to see what the situation was. So I think it's like, for the disabled population that is unable to have a co-occurring relationship, this is not the video for you. But for the high-functioning, mentally ill person, this could be a lifesaver. To make these decisions, to observe the sexuality of your dog if you've been molested before. I mean, and this is just something that you can try by doing, and it's really about training humans to make the right decisions, right? The reason why they want you to spay and neuter your dog is because the automatic argument is because there's too many dogs in shelters, why would you want to have more dogs, right? And then I'm like, well, I'm trying to breed a specific type of dog and not overpopulate shelters. I'm not intending to create more shelter dogs. I'm creating um, a wonderful alternative therapy where there's a gap in services for people who have things like autism. Um, like I dated someone who had Asperger's, and Asperger's people are antisocial, have awkward social skills, and are afraid of really going out for fear of embarrassing themselves, or they can only hold it together for like 6 hours before they have to go hide. Is what I've observed with one Asperger's person, but it's not true of every. And that could be true of people who have bipolar, people who have borderline, people who have every different kind of psychiatric PTSD, everything, you know? Like, so you're high functioning, but your dog gives you an excuse to get out of this situation where you might not be in, it's not, or you don't even notice, you know? So these are things that you can be aware of. You are in control as a disabled person, not someone that needs to be led around by a guide dog necessarily. Like, I can go up to my dog and get venting, energetic venting, by making crazy noises while petting my dog vigorously. That really helps to flush out aggressive energy for me as a human, as a survivor, as someone who has like rage responses. Sometimes I have had. I think that for me, going on antidepressants helps. A lot of people who have these disorders are going to be medicated, so they are high functioning, right? But it helps when you get frustrated. If you're autistic and you need to vent and act crazy, the dog gives you an excuse to do that. And the dog is not going to necessarily initiate that. It's up to the person to initiate that. You know, maybe you're not the person who uncontrollably has seizures, but you can then go up. You know what you need, you know? You know how to achieve your wellness, how to access that. And I want to breed these dogs and offer these classes, you know, because the myth is like the dog is unconditional love, but it's very conditional, and it's very relational healing, spiritual, emotional healing, intimate. Is it sacred intimate? Is it or is it just a repetition of the cycle of violence that created the dysfunction in you? Boom! I have never been pregnant or had an abortion. I think it's possible to control my female dog. And I don't really like calling her a bitch either. I do that as a joke. I really loved this one video when I was researching, you know, how to spay or neuter my dog. I don't know. She looks like she has a period, but I don't think she's in heat because she's not acting like she's in heat. But heat is period, right? So that's weird. I don't know. She's gone. I'm gonna check this out after I turn this off. I want to hear your thoughts. Subscribe if you want to hear more about my business plans, my alternative owner dog service dog training journey. And if you're on one, maybe yourself, I'd love to meet you. Let me know.